Alright guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn how to navigate inside Photoshop. So let's get started. Alright, before we actually begin, this video is part 2 of my Photoshop quick start guide. If you haven't watched that video, I will leave a link down in the video description. So let's get started. Zooming inside Photoshop is very important. I am going to explain the best possible ways you can zoom so that you focus mostly on the productivity aspects of your project rather than finding how to zoom in and out of a document. Apart from just zooming in and out, there are a lot of tricks and tips that I'm going to demonstrate in this video, so I highly recommend you watch it to the end. So you can see I have an image here on the screen, and currently when you have a new image open up, you will see it fill the whole canvas just like so. And then if we look down here, we see a given percentage. This percentage is the percentage at which I am currently looking at this image based on the size of my monitor. If I need to zoom into the image, then I can go to View, and you can see all the zoom options right here. Zooming is something which you do in Photoshop regularly, so I highly recommend that you master the keyboard shortcuts. So you can see here, to zoom in, you press Ctrl+, and to zoom out, you press Ctrl-. So I'm going to click out, and to zoom into this image, I will press Ctrl+ on the keyboard. I zoom in just like so. To zoom out, I press Ctrl-, and of course you know that if you are using the Mac, command is Control on PC. So Ctrl- will zoom out just like so. Right now we are currently looking at a zoom level of 33.33%, and if you zoom out more, we can see this black space around. This is known as the space bar. To fit this particular image to screen, you can press Ctrl+0. To see this image at its original zoom ratio, you press Ctrl+1. This is the original size. You can see this image, and if we look here at the bottom left, you can see it says 100%. Again, to fit the image to screen, we press Ctrl+0. Apart from pressing Ctrl+ or Ctrl- to zoom in and out, we can also zoom in and out with the scroll wheel of the mouse. But before you can be able to do this, you need to turn on a system preference. So I'll press Ctrl-K to go to my system preferences. Under the tools, make sure you tick zoom with scroll wheel and say OK. Now if I position the mouse somewhere around this eye, I can scroll up to zoom or scroll down to zoom out, just like so. To me personally, this is not very helpful. So I'm going to go back to system preferences, and under tools, I untick and say OK. If we press Ctrl+ many times to zoom in, we can see that the zooming occurs at incremental levels. So if you look down here at the bottom, it is 200% currently. But if I press Ctrl+ again, it goes to 300. And if I press Ctrl+ one more time, it goes to 400 and 500, just like so. At a zoom level of 500, if you have a low resolution monitor, anything above 500, you will be able to see the image pixels on screen. If you have a high-end monitor, then you can be able to zoom in up to 800%. So again, I'm going to fit the image to screen by pressing Ctrl+0. Now, sometimes using the Ctrl+ still feels very cumbersome. If you prefer another way, Photoshop has a dedicated zoom tool. If we go to the toolbar on the left, we see the zoom tool with the keyboard shortcut Z. With the zoom tool selected, notice that we have a plus sign on the zoom icon on the screen. What I can now do is to click on this portion with the mouse to zoom in. And on the options bar, we see these two buttons. This one is the mode we are currently in, which is zooming in with the plus icon. If you need to zoom out, you hold the Alt or the Option key. Look on the options bar what happens as I hold the Alt or the Option key. The plus sign changes to the minus sign. That tells you if you were to click, you are going to zoom out. Okay guys, that's nice. And with the dedicated zoom tool selected, you can just click on this button on the options bar to fit to screen, just like so. Apart from clicking with the dedicated zoom tool, you can also click and drag to draw a marquee selection like so. And when you let go, we zoom into that particular portion. I prefer this method most of the time. I can zoom precisely to any portion of the image just like so. I think by zooming in this way, it automatically replaces the methods used by Ctrl+ or Ctrl-, because when you press Ctrl+ or minus, it zooms to the center of the image and you won't be able to see the full image around. But with a marquee selection like so with the zoom tool, you are able to zoom to that particular portion of the image. Now, let us say we have another tool such as the lasso tool selected, and maybe I intend to create a lasso selection around this eye just like so. If I need to zoom in to see what is going on around this portion, I will not have to come and switch to the zoom tool, but what I'll have to do on PC, I'll press Ctrl and spacebar. That will switch to the zoom tool, and I can see the icon on the screen, and I can click to zoom in just like so. Then I will release those keys and continue adjusting the selection. And if I need to zoom back out with the lasso tool still active, I will press Alt and spacebar and click to zoom out just like so. Again, to center everything to screen, I press Ctrl 0. To deselect this selection, I'm going to press Ctrl plus D. Now if I press the Z key and draw a marquee around this selection like so, I'll be able to zoom in. And this time, if I need to look at what is going on at the top of this baby's head, what I need to do is to either come here and click and drag it up like so to scroll up and down. Then if I need to scroll horizontally, I can come here and click here to go either to the left or to the right. Instead of clicking here to drag up and down or left and right, you can just scroll with the mouse wheel up to move up the image just like so, or you can scroll down to move down just like so. Then if you need to scroll the image from left to right, which is horizontal scrolling, you hold the Ctrl key. And this time if you hold the Ctrl key and scroll up, you will scroll to the right just like so. If you scroll down, you will scroll to the left as demonstrated on the screen. Note that scrolling with the mouse wheel is only available if you have a certain option turned off in the system preferences. So I'll press Ctrl K to go to the system preferences, and then other tools. We see zoom with scroll wheel is turned off. If this is turned on, you won't be able to have that effect. Another handy way of moving this image around is by pressing the space bar. Notice that as I press the space bar, the mouse changes to the hand tool, okay? And I can pan to this portion of the image or to this portion of the image, just like so. I think this is the one you will use most of the time. It's very useful and practical. Now another way of scrolling around is by using what is known as the navigator panel. To find the navigator panel, we go to Window and choose Navigator. To the right, we see a little thumbnail preview of the image we have on the screen. The red rectangular box represents the portion that is currently seen. If I intend to move maybe to the portion of the hair right here, I'll just grab the rectangular box and move it to that portion just like so. And this portion will now be visible on the canvas. If I need to move to the soldier right here, I'll click there and then just drag to that portion. And we can focus on this portion exactly like so. Notice down here that we have a slider. So if I drag to the right, we are able to zoom into the image. If I drag to the left, we are able to zoom out. And notice that the red rectangular box fills the whole preview now. So this rectangular box is very useful only when you have a certain zoom level set. So I'm going to zoom in, and you see we have a very tiny rectangular box now, and we can manually move it around to adjust the position just like so. That's it for the navigator panel, guys. Very useful. I'm going to click on these two arrows to collapse that panel, and then I'll just press Ctrl 0 to fit everything to screen. Now sometimes you might be working with more than one document. So as we can see here on the screen, I have this document open, this one, and this funny boy right here. If you need to cycle between all these documents, of course you can come here and then you just click. But a nice way to navigate with keyboard shortcut is to press Ctrl plus Tab key. Pressing Ctrl and Tab will cycle between open documents on screen just like so. Now let us say I need to view all these documents on the screen. So what I will do in that case is to go to Window, choose Arrange, and pick any option from here. And currently you can see 4 up and 6 up being grayed out. That is because we have just 3 documents open. So if you have more than 5 documents and go to Arrange, these options here will become available. So I can choose, for example, 2 up horizontally, and here at the top we have 2 documents here at the top. I can hold the space bar to access the temporary hand tool and drag just like so. And I can also come to this document and drag. Very funny. You can also go to window and choose arrange. You can choose tie all vertically, and our documents will be displayed in this other manner. Then to return back to the individual tabs, you can go to window, choose arrange, and then come down here to the last option which says consolidate all to tabs. Click there. Now we have all the individual tabs here. Now if we look on the layers panel, we can see a very tiny thumbnail preview of what we have on the screen. If you need to change the visibility of this thumbnail, then you can come to this empty portion right here. You can right click there and choose large thumbnail. Now this becomes much more visible. If I click to enable this group, we can see I have some adjustments made, and we can see the large thumbnails right here. Now if I click here to enable this layer, you can see currently that the thumbnail preview here shows the exact position of this circle on the canvas. If this is not something you want, then you can go to the fly out menu right here. You click and then go down to where it says panel options, and of course here we can still choose no thumbnail, small thumbnail, medium thumbnail, or large thumbnail. So let us choose medium thumbnail, and down here under thumbnail content, let us choose layer bounds, and look at what will happen on this layer as I click OK. Layer bound simply means only the content within that layer will become visible, and it will fill the whole layer, as we can see right here. So this is very useful, especially when we are doing drawings and paintings in Photoshop. With that said, I'll click on this group to collapse it just like so. Now sometimes if you are using Photoshop with a computer that has a very small screen, then there are few adjustments you might need to make in the system preferences. So let us press Ctrl K to go to our system preferences, and under workspace, we see this option right here, large tabs. Look at what will happen here on the layers panel as I untick that option. The tabs become much more smaller. This is very useful when you have maybe a 13-inch monitor. I'll click OK, and everything still looks nice. And just a bonus tip, if you have been following this video to the end, you will notice that here on the screen I have this little banana icon. I'm going to show you how to bring it back or remove it. So to activate this banana icon, first of all, I will start by disabling it. I'll click on this button and click on Edit Toolbar, and then I'll just click Done. If I choose any other tool like the Move tool, you see the banana icon disappears. To bring it back, I'll click and hold on this button until I see Edit Toolbar. If I click on Edit Toolbar, the only thing I need to do is to hold down the Shift key, then click on Done. Holding the Shift key and clicking on Done will bring the banana icon inside Photoshop. To remove it, click and hold, choose Edit Toolbar, and just click without holding the Shift key. I prefer my banana turn on, so I'm going to click to cancel. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you have learned useful tips and tricks that will help you navigate like a pro inside Photoshop. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. That way I will be motivated to create more videos in upcoming lectures just like this. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one tomorrow. Bye bye.